Hey friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, it's resolution times 2. Double Rezolute is a 10.5% double IPA from Drafting Table Brewing Company in Wixom, Michigan. I feel like I've had a really interesting journey with IPAs. When I first started drinking them back in the day, I really enjoyed the hoppy, the piney, the bitter style IPA, but after a while, I kind of started falling out of love with how bitter everything had gotten. If I wanted to go that bitter, I would have just started sucking on pine cones I found around in the backyard. So when I found out about New England style IPAs, it really rekindled my entire viewpoint on IPAs because they were not bitter, everything I wasn't looking for. Now that I've had so many New England style IPAs over the years, I find myself going back to traditional IPAs and West Coast style IPAs. And one of the first IPAs that really started to rekindle that appreciation was Drafting Table's Rezolute IPA. I reviewed it a few years back. Now, we're back this time around with Double Rezolute, so let's go look at the label and we'll get it into a glass. But first, I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, Vinny Cant, and Cam Freeman for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks available only to patrons, and the satisfaction of knowing that you've helped out the channel. So let's take a look at the label here. This one is all green. It's got a lot of green going on it. If we start from the top here, it says Wixom, Michigan Drafting Table Brewing Company. It has 2 hop cones. The original Rezolute just has 1, and it's not colored in like this, or it didn't used to be. It's just a line drawing, kind of a sketch of a hop cone. I'm really digging this design. Underneath that, it says Double Rezolute Imperial India Pale Ale. It has this splashed kind of watercolor look to it where it's dark green, and behind the hop, I should say, not underneath it, but behind it, it's kind of washed to a lighter white behind it and a pale green. It's a cool looking label. It has that watercolor kind of look to it. If we turn it to the back here, it says brewed and canned by Drafting Table Brewing Company. You can find out more about them at www.draftingtablebeer.com. And then it says this Imperial IPA is the big brother of our flagship IPA, Rezolute. It's brewed with double the malt, which contributes to the sweetness, and double the Pacific Northwest hops, which intensifies the citrus and pine aroma and flavor. Lets you know this is 10.5% alcohol by volume and that you should enjoy it from a glass. And this shows a snifter style glass, which we will be drinking out of. And then it has the bitterness scale. So again, original Rezolute is 4 out of 5. This one's about 4.5 out of 5. As I mentioned on all these reviews for Drafting Table beers, I love that their labels give you this bitterness scale. It lets you know what to expect if you're going to get a bitter beer, maybe not so much a bitter beer. This one says it was packaged on January. I can't really tell what it says. It says PKG, and it has a code, something 22. So this year, at least. It looks like 13122. I believe that's what it says. John from Dewey Pod Monster, as you've seen on my videos where we've been going around the state to the Must-Stop Michigan breweries, he gifted me this. He knew that I was looking for this because I mentioned, I'm like, hey man, here Drafting Table. He's a big Drafting Table guy, so I was like, I knew that they were putting this out. Can you get it for me? So he did. Thank you, John. All right, let's crack this, and we'll put a nose on the can, which we always do. It has a nice piney, hoppy aroma to it. Has a little bit of a sweet kind of characteristic in there. It doesn't smell to me to be so, it doesn't really have a dankness, so to speak, at least not out of the can. So let's go ahead and pour this. This is not the usual style glass that I would pour an IPA. I would go for my IPA glass, but I'm going by what the can says, folks. It says to go to one of these glasses. I'm not going to overfill it. Don't want to do that. And we're looking at about, I can smell it from here, we're getting about a finger of head. It has a little bit of an off-white head, shading a little bit towards an orangey yellow kind of color. It's definitely not white, it's off-white. It might look to be white from the front view, but it's not white. So let's go ahead and hold it up here. That has a lot of particulate floating in it. It's not so much hazy. It's not like a hazy IPA, but it definitely has some particulate floating in there. I can see my fingers through there. And let's put a nose on it. Yeah, I'm getting a citrus. I'm getting a little bit of a piney, but again, I'm getting like that sweetness. I'm getting like a sweet aroma, sweet characteristic out of the glass. Let's go ahead and try it out. Cheers. The mouthfeel is almost like borderline heavy. And for an IPA, that's a little bit different than maybe what I would normally expect from an IPA. I expect it to be in the medium category, maybe even medium light, but this is almost like the next step up, right? It's kind of something that you can't really, it's like a personal thing, but I feel like it's a little bit heavier than most IPAs I've had. It's not really like thick, it's not syrupy, but it definitely has a heaviness to it, a nice full-bodied IPA, full-bodied flavor. So let's talk about the flavor here. And it comes across on the very beginning, comes across very sweet. It has a nice, just a really punchy sweetness to it. Not something that I would expect from what I say, 10.5. Yeah, 10.5% IPA or double IPA, Imperial IPA. I don't expect most IPAs or double IPAs to have the kind of sweetness that this has. It's almost not. The sweetness is almost so much in the upfront that there is bitterness there, but the sweetness really is what sets it apart. Like it's not, you would expect a double IPA with the Pacific Northwest hops that they talk about. You would kind of expect it to be maybe a little bit more bitter than it is, but the sweetness just is amplified twice as much as regular Resolute. The bitterness that I do pick up, which again isn't all that much, it seems to be I would say it's like 70% citrus and maybe like 30% pine, resiny kind of flavor. And this on the swallow, so you get it kind of like right before the swallow on the back of your tongue, and on the swallow, it almost has a little bit of this kind of boozy characteristic in there, but it's not overpowering. It's not like super strong. It's just really subtle in the background. But that booziness almost pushes up to be like, it adds to that sweet characteristic. So you get that sweetness on the upfront. You get that little bit of the hoppy bitterness, like I said, 70% citrus, about 30% piney, resinous kind of bitterness. And then you get that little boozy kind of sweetness on the back end that kind of, you just get that booziness for just a second. It just comes through a little bit, and then it's pushed and taken over by that sweetness. Not what I was expecting. For some reason, I was expecting it to be a little bit more kind of pushing into West Coasty kind of vibes, but it really, this is a really surprising one because it comes through, like I said, that sweetness really kind of pushes more than anything else. So it's not so much West Coasty because it's not like in that really piney, resinous, bitter kind of footprint or that branch of IPA. But like I said, because even the bitterness that comes through is so much more citrus than pine, and the sweetness just kind of, it doesn't take over, but it pushes down that bitterness so much that you just get like a real quick hit of the bitterness, and then the sweetness punches up again. I don't know if this is still available in cans. I'm really doubting that it's available in cans from Drafting Table, but next time around, which might not be anytime recent, they might still have it at the tap room. I don't know in relation to when this video is going to go up into relation to when this was, or if it even like at the current time, which it's the 26th of February. I don't even know if it's still on tap now, but this is a really good beer, and it's more like these videos when I talk about these different can releases and things that may be only tap room available, it's more to get the word or get kind of spread the word about these places. So I know that while you might not necessarily be able to get a can of this right now, unless you traded for it, but if you went to the brewery, you might not be able to get it. But it's more to bring awareness to the breweries, because places like Drafting Table that don't have like super massive distribution, they do great beer. So it's one of those things where I want to just spread the word because I think these breweries are great. And Double Rezolute, like I said, it's a little bit of a change of pace. It's a little bit different from the original Rezolute, again, on more sweet. But yeah, I mean, this is like legit. I would definitely, in a heartbeat, pick up one of these if I could. But yeah, like I said, just kind of getting the word out there about Drafting Table, because I think they do great work, and I'd love to see them I'd love to see more people go in there and check them out, because I think they do great stuff all around. Double Rezolute. It's another one of those great ones. All right, friends, that's been Double Rezolute from Drafting Table out in Wixom. Have you been out to Drafting Table yet? Do you see their beer on shelves near you? And do you have a favorite from them? Let me know in the comments down below while you're down there. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays is all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite, or you might miss your newest favorite brewery because you weren't subscribed and getting those notifications. Like I mentioned, I'm doing those Michigan must-stop breweries videos. I'm going to try and roll some more of those out. Going to do a little bit more of southeast lower Michigan next time around. So keep those in mind. If you're not subscribed, you're not going to know when those new ones come out. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries. These guys are in Wixom, Michigan. And most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.